everyone, welcome back to another installment of my Revisit With Me series where I re-listen to albums I really enjoy with you guys just for fun. Today I'm going to be revisiting Channel Orange by Frank Ocean, and let's get into it. The first song is Start. Okay, so my thoughts on this track, not much to say because it's very short. I'm able to appreciate it for what it is. And now to track 2, Thinkin Bout You.
A tornado flew around my room before you came. It usually doesn't rain in Southern California. My eyes don't shed tears, but boy, they pour when I'm thinking about you. Do you think about me still? Or do you not think so far ahead? I've been thinking about forever. Ooh, I just thought you were cool enough to kick it. Beach house, I could sell you an idol. Got a fighter jet, I don't get to fly it though. Been thinking about you. Do you think about it still? Do you not think so far ahead? I've been thinking about forever. Yes, of course, I remember. How could I forget how you feel? You were my first time. It will never get old, not in my soul. Keep it alive. We'll go down this road till it turns from color black and white. Do you not think so far ahead? I've been thinking about forever. Ooh.
Okay, so my thoughts on this track, classic R&B song, of course, and this is actually the first song that I heard from him, and it's been one that I've always enjoyed. I definitely think that it's aged like fine wine, and I believe I heard something about he gave the song away, and then he decided that he wanted it back, and so he was able to get the song back, and I really love his vocal on here. That is something that is satisfying to listen to. I love the falsetto on here, a great singer overall, so I really appreciate the vocal performance on here. I also really appreciate the production on here, something that is so fitting. I can appreciate the lyrics and how he makes it work in terms of his vocal delivery as well, and just something that I've always enjoyed listening to overall. On if the song's about another man on Genius, it says. In the third verse, Frank says the love he is talking about was his first time in a new field. While this doesn't necessarily mean it's a man, in his open letter, Frank said his first love was male, so it's safe to say the song is in fact about a male partner. Frank is known for telling stories through his music. In an interview with BBC News about his writing process, Ocean said this: "I guess I'm just inspired to tell these stories. You gotta make sure the listener is listening to you. So if you put it in a song, oftentimes if the song is striking enough, then you can really deliver a story the most effectively while keeping the ear of the listener the whole time. I guess it all starts with the stories for me." And now to track 3, Fertilizer. Okay, so my thoughts on this track, something that is short and sweet. I like the music on it, good vocal, enjoyable to listen to. About the song on Genius, it says, a short cover of the song Fertilizer by James Fauntleroy, as written in Rap Genius's piece for Esquire. Fertilizer is a short interlude that opens up the darker themes on the album. Over what sounds like a 1950s radio program in matching static, Ocean begs his love not to treat him like the titular bullshit, but the sorrow in his voice and the painful laugh track tell us he's not having much luck. So I honestly did not know that this was a cover until this point. I'm usually pretty good with checking the writing credits on album, but it's probably been a while since I checked this out, but this is why I read Genius, just to know things like this. But very cool. Definitely want to check out the original and see how he could have potentially switched it up, or if it's like very close to it. And now to track 4, Sierra Leone.
We're spending too much time alone. Horses gallop to a throne, behaving like teenagers, still inside our parents' home. I don't live in Denver. I can see everything out. Hoping skies will keep me home. Sierra Leone. Intuition that I be getting. I'm betting mission. Shit feeling too good to me. Glistening new day. We bring it down for dawn. Reaching for your nipple 'cause it's time to fade.
Okay, so my thoughts on this track, something that's very interesting to listen to just in terms of the production alone, just something that is fascinating. And then I also really quite love his vocal on the track, and he's such a wonderful singer, so I really love what he does with his voice all over this thing. I can appreciate the lyrics, just the entire atmosphere of the song is just something that is very interesting to me overall, so I quite enjoy it. And now to track 5, Sweet Life.
The best song wasn't the single, but you weren't either. Black Beverly Hills, palm trees and pools, keeping it surreal. Whatever takes your mountain high, keeping it surreal. My TV ain't HD, that's too real. Sweet life, sweet life, sweet life. You've had a landscape, but since you were born, the sunshine always kept you warm. I see the world, you got the beach, sweet life. That song wasn't a single, you couldn't turn your radio down. You're keeping it so real, whatever you like. Not sugar-free, my TV ain't HD. Mango, peaches, and lime, a sweet life, sweet life. Got a landscape, but since you were born, yeah. I know I see the world, you got the beach. What is exactly what I wanted? Neighborhood is going ape shit crazy. Got a landscape, but since you were born, I know I see the world, you got the beach. Sweet life.
Okay, so my thoughts on the song. I think that this is a fantastic track overall. Definitely one of my favorite songs on the album. Depending on the day, this could be my absolute favorite song on the album. I love this one so much. I really love the way that he starts it off. Like the first lyric, the best song wasn't the single, but you weren't either. Like, who comes up with that? Frank Ocean, amazing songwriter. But I just love how he starts it off with that. I love all the lyrics and just everything that he's describing in terms of that, right? And then I also really love the instrumentation, how that progresses, and it just has a really great band feel. Like, you know, whenever you watch live performances and then you're just thinking like, wow, this person has a great band behind them, and just having like actual musicians play on a song versus having like a pre-recorded track, I feel like the energy is completely different and it just makes you appreciate people's talent more. And so I always love that aspect about this track as well. His vocals on here are superb to listen to. I appreciate how the song progresses overall. Just love the song very much. About the song on Genius, it says, the 5th track off Frank Ocean's full-length debut, Channel Orange, Sweet Life provides a reflective look into the effects of wealth. In the song, Frank explores the idea of how money and wealth numbs people to the problems of the outside world. Frank ironically asks, why see the world when you got the beach? To challenge those who live in excess to escape their bubble and acknowledge the struggles of people less fortunate than them. And now into track 6, Not Just Money. Okay, so my thoughts on this track, I'm able to appreciate it in context of the album, something that is very short overall, and definitely something that can be thought-provoking. Really quickly, I wanted to say that money is a big deal, and I'm so tired of people saying like, oh, having money isn't the best thing in the world, like there's other things that you have to focus on, it's nothing if you don't have someone to share with, and blah blah blah. Like, you guys have money. People who do not have money are struggling every day for a variety of reasons, and it's just really hard to make it, especially in this economy. And so just to have money, like, it really changes your life so much. And so like other problems you have outside of not having money, those are a lot easier to fix than not having money. Some people don't understand the value of money. They don't understand how important it can be in one's life. About the song on Genius, it says, this is actually just one of Frank's friend's mom, Rosie Watson, scolding him. The homie recorded it because it's just too damn funny and gave it to Frank to use on the album. Apparently the people at Def Jam thought it was a serious paid actress. Rosie Watson would reprise her role as a scalding mother on Ocean's 2nd album, Blonde, appearing on the track Be Yourself. The skit is fittingly followed by Super Rich Kids, a song about wasting money, partying, etc. And now to track 7, Super Rich Kids with Earl Sweatshirt.
Too many bottles of this wine, too many bowls of that green, no lucky charms. Parents ain't around enough. Too many white lies and white lines. Super rich kids with nothing but fake friends. Got my day up on the roof with the clicker off the tube. No guy, no girl, no much good times, baby. Watch my back 3 times a white lines, super rich kids with nothing but fake friends. I'm searching for a real love. Alright, close your eyes for what you can't imagine. Daddy smashed your ratty ass, he Maddie snatched his daddy's jaggy. Purchasing crappy grams with half the hand of cash you handed. Happy to latchkey us, don't believe us, treat us like we can't erupt. The end I day up on the roof. I say I'll jump, I never do. I'm on that ledge, she grabs my arm. Flavor silver, silver fuck. The mug is down like 60 stories. My silver spoon, very good. Close my eyes and feel the crash. Too many bottles of this wine, too many bowls of that green, no lucky charm. Parents ain't around enough. Too many white lies and white lines. Super rich kids with nothing but fake friends. I'm searching for real love. Talking about real love.
Okay, so my thoughts on this track, something that is excellent overall to listen to. This is definitely another favorite song for me on this album. I think that Frank's vocal performance on here is great overall. I really like the harmonies that he is doing, something that's so tastefully done and adds a lot to the song in my personal opinion. I think that the lyrics here are great and I really like them overall. And then I can also appreciate Earl Sweatshirt's contribution to the track. He has a nice verse and it's something that's kind of like reinforcing what Frank is saying in the verses. So overall, I think that this track is well done and it's something that I always love listening to on this album. About the song on Genius, it says, continuing a major theme on the album, Frank evokes deluxe and glamorous like no other. See Sweet Life and Lost. Only Super Rich Kids is a bit more harrowing. There's something sad, something hopeless about how Frank sings It's Good Times. The song elaborates on how a life full of material can never fulfill someone like love and happiness can. In the final verse, the character Frank is embodying falls or jumps from the roof he started his day on. Frank showcases the dynamics of his voice throughout the track. Note the transition from the first chorus to the second verse, and it almost sounds like two different people singing. He got the inspiration for this track from the movie Traffic by Steven Soderbergh, as he confirmed in his interview for GQ magazine. The song also plays over the end credits of Sofia Coppola's movie The Bling Ring, reportedly at the suggestion of Coppola's friend Kanye West. So it also says that Earl Sweatshirt was sick and high when he recorded his verse, which is definitely something that's interesting. On why Frank took out the alternative second verse, it says, Frank most likely didn't take out the missing verse, but rather added it into live performances. The reasoning as to why he would have done this is unclear, but an inferred reason could be so as to fit into the verse, chorus, verse song format. So I'm definitely gonna have to check out some live performances of this and see what the new verse is, but that's definitely something that I'm intrigued by. So I can appreciate whatever artists do that, and then they add something completely different to the song live than they do in the studio version, and a completely different vibe. So I'm excited to check that out. And now to track 8, Pilot Jones.
We once had things in common. Now the only thing we share is the refrigerator. Told you I'm ice cold. Ice cold. Oh, you're flying high. You always smoking in the house. Can't get up and get a job. The dealer and the stoner. I had a Pilot Jones. She took me high. Pilot Jones, Pilot Jones. Tonight she came stumbling across my lawn. Don't know why. I keep on trying to keep a grown woman sober. And no, I don't want a child. I ain't been touching a while. I knew what I was ever known. I had a Pilot Jones. She took me. She took me home. Pilot Jones, Pilot Jones. I saw the sky because I've never seen before. Yeah. If I got a condo on a cloud, guess you can stay at my place. You're my Pilot Jones.
Thoughts on this track. This is decent overall. I really like the production on here. I think that it really makes the song so much better, and I can always really appreciate great detailed production that just really adds so much more to the song. So I love the production on there. I think that his vocal on the song is great to listen to. I like the lyrics and I can appreciate the track overall. About the song on Genius, it says, in track 8 of Frank Ocean's 2012 to an Orange album, he discusses the topic of first love and compares it with a drug by using the double entendre Pilot Jones. This is because a pilot is one who drives or steers, likely how lovers are jonesing or craving each other to a pilot that is driving them toward each other. Alternatively, a pilot episode is the first in any line of a TV series, ending at this being a first love. Further adding to this extended metaphor is that the first love he discusses in the song may or may not smoke frequently, so he could be using drugs as an easy comparison to the love that they share. About the song, Rick Rubin says, it's really interesting that he uses seed ideas or tools to write that really don't have anything to do with the song. It's just a way for him to access himself, and then the song comes out and then the track is built around what he writes. About the song, Frank says, I was like, I gotta get this song song out. I always knew the track would have to change. Now to track 9, Crack Rock.
Used to date a blonde, it's in stones, in glass homes, crack rock, it's in stones, in abandoned homes, crack rock. They're shucking and jiving, stealing and robbing to get the fixing that you're itching for. Used to get a little from time to time. It's in stones, in abandoned homes. Crack rock. Rookie cop, that cop. No good for community. 300 men will search for me. And don't no one hear the sound. Don't no one hear the shouts. Shouts. Don't no one just rap Nirvana. Crack rock. How you feeling, girl? Crack rock.
Okay, so my thoughts on this song. I think that this song is alright, probably a good song overall. It's definitely something that grew on me with time, because I remember getting into this album at first. I could not stand the song at all. It's something that I would always skip. And then at a certain point, I stopped skipping it. I probably just like didn't have my phone with me to skip it, and I probably was just like letting myself to get used to it. So basically, as I've been listening to this album more, listening to the song in context of it, I can appreciate it a lot more now than whenever I listened to it at first. I can say I can appreciate the lyrics. It seems to just be talking about the struggles of drug addiction and how it can affect somebody and their loved ones and just everything that goes along with that, and that's a big topic to deal with as well. And then also I can appreciate his singing on here. I think that he sounds great as well. I can appreciate the production on there. About the song on Genius, it says, on the 9th track off Channel Orange, Ocean speaks about a man overcome by an addiction to crack cocaine and comments on the issues of the so-called war on drugs in America. In an interview with The Guardian, Ocean stated how his grandfather influenced the record. For a song like Crack Rock, my grandfather, who had struggled to be a father for my mom and my uncle, his second chance at fatherhood was me. In his early 20s, he had a host of problems with addiction and substance abuse. When I knew him, he was the mentor for the NA and the AA groups. I used to go to the meetings and hear these stories from the addicts, heroin, and crack and alcohol. Those stories like that influence a song like that. In an interview with the New York Times, Ocean also said those meetings. It's totally ingrained this fear of addiction and of anything that could cause me to be addicted. Fun fact, in the same interview, Ocean stated that the reason it's sung with a little bit of fractured breathiness is because that's how a smoker would sing it. Crack rock, of course, can also literally mean what the man is user of, but also the word crack can be like a cracked rock, which can be interpreted into the split of this man with his life. He has lost everything and is now alone. The crack has come between him and his family and just his life in general. This song also contains a sample as well, which is going to be Little Miss Lover by the Jimi Hendrix Experience. And now to track 10, Pyramids.
Shining like diamonds, our skin like bronze, as we march to the rhythm. And is inside the pyramids. Beneath the legion's view, they have taken Cleopatra, virtue of Africa. What good is a jewel that is still precious? How could you run off on us? Why'd you lay down safe side? Full head of hair from a black queen, Cleopatra. Yes, kill Cleopatra. Big sun coming strong through the motel blinds. Now let's go Cleopatra. In your 6-inch heels, catch her, headed to the pyramid. She's working at the pyramid tonight. Pimping in my convo. Let it be some jazz playing. Top floor motel suite, floor model TV with the VCR. It ain't got no gas tank, but it still got wood grain. Hit the strip and my bills paid. Keep a nigga bills paid. She's working at the pyramid tonight. Working at the pyramid. You showed up after work, I'm bathing your body. Your body is warm just like our bath water. The way you say my name makes me feel like I'm that nigga. Say it's big, but you take it. But your love ain't free. No, working at the pyramid tonight. Working at the pyramid.
Okay, so my thoughts on the song, definitely a masterpiece, of course, one of his most talked about songs for a reason. This song is just absolutely brilliant all the way around. I think that the production on here is something that is so ambitious and gratifying to listen to, and just very cool in terms of like the chord progressions that they're using, and something that feels like very psychedelic, and I really love the production on here. It's definitely the part that stands out to me most on this song. I also really appreciate the way that this song progresses. Like, I really love the first half of the song, and then the way that he transitions into the second part of the song, Chef's Kiss. I really love whenever artists make long songs like this, but then they actually make it worth your while. I hate whenever people make songs and it's like an 8-minute song. It's like you could have cut that off after 3 minutes because they're just riffing at the end. But with this song, it really takes you through a journey, so I really appreciate the progression of it overall. I think that the lyrics for it are cool, and I love the atmosphere for it as well. His vocals on here are amazing to listen to overall, and I really love the textures of his voice that he's using and everything. And one part that stands out to me is whenever he says, "But you're loving free" for the second time. That's just something that is so satisfying to listen to. I can appreciate the instrumentation. I believe that there's some guitar in here, so I really like the tone of the guitar specifically, and that's always something that I can appreciate. And just, this is a top-notch song, one of the best songs of all time, one of my favorite songs of all time. This is another song that is definitely one of the best on the album, easily, and another favorite for me on the album, of course. And honestly, it does not really get much better than this. And just what he was able to do in the song Chef's Kiss. Songwriting on here is great, production, performance, all of it is great. About the song on Genius, it says, "This is Frank Ocean's near 10-minute long tale of the ancient history of the black woman and her gradual decline from a queen in her homeland to her now degrading role in the Western Hemisphere. She is no longer revered but used and abused by men who would have died to protect her honor many centuries ago." The song makes reference to the historical Cleopatra, who brought dishonor to her country by becoming Mark Antony's mistress. Mark Antony was a conqueror who wanted Egypt as Roman territory, which is how they crossed paths. In Ocean's song, he narrates a similar thing happening with him and a woman. Now that she became a traitor and left him for the enemy, her decision has backfired on her because she's not an entity of glory and honor anymore, but of dishonor. She's reduced to a common stripper who is now taking care of a man who has no job. It's almost as if the king is paying her back for what she did, because the narrator speaks of his woman stripping to keep a nigga bills paid. But there is some kind of unhealthy love and devotion to one another because they still stay together and are a couple, so to speak. The song is literally a historical account of the black man and woman in America and our slow fall from grace, from gods to dogs symbolically. About the song, Frank says, "I have actual pimps in my family in LA. It was fantasy built off that dynamic, but you can only write what you know to a point." And now into track 11, Lost.
Sweatshirt and it's Versace. If I ever let you get caught, lost in the heat of it all. Tokyo, Spain, lost. Los Angeles, India, lost on the train, lost. She's at the stove, can't believe I got her out here cooking dough. She'll be whipping meals up for a family of her own. Someday, nothing wrong, nothing wrong, nothing wrong with another short plane ride through the sky. Lost in the heat of it all. Miami, and
Okay, so my thoughts on this track. Stellar overall. I think that this song is ridiculously catchy. I think that the production here is great. His vocals on here are something that are wonderful overall to listen to. I can appreciate the lyrics on here overall. About the song on Genius Success, Lost is the fourth single from Frank Ocean's critically acclaimed debut studio album, Channel Orange. The protagonist in the song is a drug supplier who uses his girlfriend as a drug mule. His lover gets lost in the intensity of the jet-setting lifestyle of drug trafficking and subsequent money and lavish gifts that come along with it. He believes that one day she will live a normal life away from this criminal lifestyle, but it must come after one last smuggle, which leads to another last smuggle. And now to track 12, White with John Mayer. Okay, so my thoughts on this, it is good overall. I can definitely appreciate the guitar and everything that's going on here musically, of course. As I said before, I like John Mayer's music. He's a very accomplished guitarist, songwriter. He's an alright singer. As a person, I think that he absolutely sucks. I cannot stand him as a person. He has to be held accountable for the things that he has said and done wrong, and that's also something worth noting. But overall, I can appreciate this for what it was. About the song on Genius Success, this cut from Channel Orange is a relaxed instrumental version of Frank's song White from the Odd Future Tape Volume 2. The song features a guitar solo from John Mayer, who also solos on Pyramids, and went to collaborate with Ocean on Wildfire. The collaboration was anticipated by a picture posted on Frank's Instagram taken in Montana. I had no idea John Mayer was on Pyramids. I really have to start reading the credits a little bit more. Usually I'm pretty good for reading this about an album, but I guess I just haven't read this one in a long time, so I forgot. But normally whenever I first listen to records, one of the first things that I do is I go on Wikipedia and I read the track list just because I want to know like who wrote the songs and stuff, and then occasionally I go to the personnel just to know who's playing. But this is definitely something I need to remind myself to do more, because I didn't know he was on Pyramids. But you know what? That definitely makes a lot of sense. And now to track 13, Monks.
Stage diving, spray the crowd with cold water. I think I need a cold shower. African girl speaks an English accent, likes to watch westerns, show me her passport. But you're beautiful to me. Monks in the mosh pit, stage diving, Dalai Lama. Clean chakra, good karma. Indian girl sleeps above the temple, young and hard. Found a boyfriend and now you wanna get away. I'm here no drop. I never asked for much, but please keep up alive. Safely with your father's army trailing us. What a great escape. We're lost in the jungle underneath these clouds. Coke white tiger woke us from our slumber. Guide and protect us to the end. Oh, I'm high now. Beautiful to me.
So my thoughts on this song overall, something that's decent to listen to. What really stands out to me most on the song is the drums. I think that they're absolutely fantastic. I always really appreciate great drums on a song, and I feel like these really took it to the next level. The song just really has a great groove to it as well. I really like the production on here. Frank's vocals are great. He really has a nice pocket with them, which is also something I can appreciate, and I think that the lyrics in the song are good. About the song on Genius Success, Frank discusses the relationship he had with the female groupie he met on tour. He continuously compares the audience at his tours to Buddhist monks and their spiritual idol, Dalai Lama. On what synths were used for the song, it says, Melee, producer of the song, answered this on a Reddit AMA. Intro to Monks was done all with Arturia stuff and a Moog Voyager. And now onto track 14, Bad Religion.
Taxi driver, be my shrink for the hour. It's rush hour, take the streets if you want. He said, Allahu Akbar. I told him don't curse me. Boy, you need prayer. Guess it couldn't hurt me. If it brings me to my knees, it's a bad religion. So requited love, I can never make a taxi driver, swear I've got 3 lives, balanced on my head like steak knife. You say Allahu Akbar, told him don't curse me. Oh, you need prayer, guess they couldn't hurt me. If it brings me to my knees, it's a bad religion. Unrequited love to me is nothing but a one-man call. I can never make them love me.
Okay, so my thoughts on this track. This is something that I can really appreciate listening to. I think that this has one of his best vocal performances on the album. Vocals are outstanding. I can appreciate the lyrics. About the song on Genius, it says, Frank Ocean initiates a makeshift therapy session in the backseat of a cab on the sorrowful track. The night Channel Orange was released on iTunes. Frank premiered this song on Jimmy Fallon. The performance and song were so well received that Frank Ocean became a household name virtually overnight. And now into track 15, Pink Matter with André 3000.
Peaches and the mangoes that you could sell for me. Why do you think my brain is made for? Just a container for the mind. It's great matter. What is your woman? Just a container for the child. Soft pink matter. Close my eyes, fall into you. Just giving me pleasure. What if the sky and the stars are for show? Aliens are watching like purple matter. Since it went quiet, then violence, cotton candy, then the lights in fall into you. Pleasure matter.
Since you been gone, I've been having withdrawals. I ain't myself at all, had to tell myself she better with some fella with a regular job. Hops into my car, drove far. Falls too close, and I remember my memories no sharp. Duty all the clock stop, what am I anyway? If models are made for modeling, thick girls are made for cuddling. Who needs another friend? I need to hold your hand. You need no other man. We flee to other lands.
You good at being bad. For heaven's sakes, go to hell. Not gonna wood.
Frankly, when that ocean's so motherfucking good, make her walk the motherfucking plank, make her rob a motherfucking bank with no mask on and a rush to revolve.
Okay, so my thoughts on this track. It is something that I think is impeccable overall. I really love the production on here. Just something that is so fitting for the track. I can appreciate Frank's vocal on here. Something that is so nice to listen to overall. I like the lyrics for this song and just the cadence that he's using. And I really love what André 3000 did with his verse. Every single time he has a verse, he comes on and kills it. I also love his verse on Beyonce's song Party. I really think that he takes that song to the next level. I just really appreciate his flow and his lyrics and just how he makes everything work. So definitely shout out to André 3000 on this track as well, and something that is an entertaining listen overall. About the song on Genius, it says, a play on the term gray matter, the substance that makes up the brain. Pink matter is a meditation on the female anatomy, desire, and fantasy. The song features Outkast member André 3000, who also plays guitar in the track. That is something that's very cool. I didn't know that. The song almost featured Big Boy grabbing a verse, but after discussion, Big Boy and André decided they couldn't do an Outkast reunion on somebody else's record. The production, like the entire album, is handled by Frank, but he got help from his friend Melee. Melee told Complex about working on the record and the selection of André 3000. It was just a simple thing. There came a point when we were getting close to wrapping the record. Frank was kind of narrowing down who we wanted features from. We knew we didn't want to make it a record full of a whole bunch of big name collaborators just for the sake of having them. We were just really trying to decide who we could bring to this project that's going to elevate the overall project. The record's an incredible song, and it's a lot of people's favorite record when they've heard the album. And with a name like that, you think it'd be a single type song or something. But if you listen to it, it's probably the opposite of that. It's that record that's everybody's favorite song on the album, but it's not the single. That's showing where Frank really is at. He's strictly doing it for the art. It's not about, hey, this is going to help sales. And now into track 16, Forrest Gump.
Wanna see pom-poms from the stands. My fingertips and my lips burn from the cigarettes. Forrest Gump, you run my mind, boy. I know you're flawless. You're so buff and so strong. I'm nervous, Forrest. My fingertips and my lips burn from the cigarettes. Forrest Gump, you run my mind, boy. I saw you game, Forrest. I was screaming, run 44. You kept running past the end zone. My fingertips and my lips burn from the cigarettes. Forrest Gump, you run my mind, boy. Forest green, I'm
Okay, so my thoughts on this song. Lovely track overall. I can appreciate his vocal and the production on it. About the song on Genius Success, Forrest Gump is the 16th and penultimate track on Frank Ocean's debut album Channel Orange. The song makes considerable reference to the 1994 comedy drama film Forrest Gump. Frank wrote this song from the perspective of Forrest Gump's love interest Jenny. This song serves as a metaphor for the feelings Frank still harbors for his first love, the man he wrote about in his Tumblr post. And now to the 17th and final track, End.
It's like all we got is each other. And compromise. Our daughters and our sons. Candles in the sun.
Okay, so my thoughts on the song, good overall. I can appreciate it for what it is. Nice vocal on here and good way to end off the album. Good instrumentation and production. About the song on Genius Success, and serves as a closer to Channel Orange on streaming services. The physical releases of the album would have Golden Girl featuring Tyler the Creator instead, and features the unreleased song Voodoo that Frank posted to his Tumblr page in early 2012 before the release of Channel Orange. Although not confirmed by Frank himself, the piece is popularly theorized to be inspired by a scene from the 2006 film ATL, which features characters Nunu and Rashad exchanging conversation in a similar setting. The song plays during conversation, pouring rain, and car chimes of Frank's BMW X6 that he had owned at the time. And now I wanted to share my favorite songs on the album with you. So I'm going to say Sweet Life. Like I said, on any given day, this is probably my favorite song on the album. Adore this one. Also, I'm going to have Super Rich Kids with Earl Sweatshirt, absolutely. Then I'm going to do Pyramids, of course. This is just how I'm feeling now. As I listen more, it could potentially change. And now I wanted to share my overall thoughts on this album with you. So I definitely think that this is an incredible debut album. One of my favorite debut albums of all time. I think that his songwriting on here is incredible from track to track to track. And he has pretty diverse subject matter, from talking about relationships to drug addiction to talking about Cleopatra. And he just has all these different topics, but he tackles them super well. A very smart songwriter, very capable songwriter, and just very talented at what he does. And so I really appreciate his skills as a songwriter, of course.
Something that I forgot to add is the fact that he wrote this in 2 weeks is incredibly impressive, and once again just shows how talented of a songwriter that he is. Just the subject matter like I was talking about, and just the way that he goes throughout these songs with the flow and the delivery and stuff, it's just so incredibly creative. And then finding out that he wrote these in 2 weeks is just something that always blows my mind whenever I think about it. So that's always something that I want to mention in regards to that album, and I just think that he's a very talented artist overall.
I think that his vocal performances on here are top notch. Something that's so satisfying to listen to. I really like the harmony. I like the textures that he uses in his voice. I think that the production on this record is top tier, so definitely shout out to Frank and the other producers on this record. Shout out to the engineers on this record. Shout out to anyone who worked on this record in general, because I really appreciate their contributions, and it really made a solid body of work. And this is something that has truly stood the test of time, and I really appreciate what he is doing with R&B music. This is definitely a strong start for the career in my personal opinion, so I absolutely love this album so much. And I don't get to listen to it as often as I would like, and every once in a while I listen to it, I'm like, wow, this really is an amazing body of work. And you can just feel the hard work listening to this with the production and the sequencing and the songwriting. Just everything comes together really nicely on this. Overall, I would highly recommend listening to this album if you haven't already. It is just brilliant and something that is very enjoyable and thought-provoking. And so basically, I thought about doing like a talking video on this album and just sharing my thoughts on every single song, but I was like, you know what? Let me do a revisit with me just so we can listen to the tracks together once again, and just something for fun. So I'm really glad I got to end up doing a video on this album, because I've had this idea for months, and now I was like, okay, I'm finally going to do it. So that's gonna be my overall thoughts on the Channel Orange album. I would love to know what you guys are thinking down below in the comments. Let me know what are your favorite songs, what are your memories with the album, any important information you want to add to the conversation, leave it down below, because I would absolutely love to read them. Also, if you guys wanted to see more of my Revisit With Me videos, I will have a card on the screen right here to where you guys can go to, and that just takes you to every single Revisit With Me I've done. It'll also be at the end of this video and linked down below in the description, of course. Also, I did make a video talking about my favorite debut albums of all time. This made the list, of course, and I'll have a card on the screen right here if you guys would like to check that out, and it'll also be at the end of this video and linked down below in the description, of course. But that is going to be it for this video. video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy it, give it a like down below. It helps me out a lot in the YouTube algorithm. I very much appreciate it. You guys can also subscribe right down below if you would like to see more videos like this. And if you hit the bell next to that, you get a notification to your phone so you do not miss when I post brand new videos. And the first link down below in the description will be my second channel. So I just posted a brand new video on there and I talked about a bunch of different topics. So I did do a little reaction to Janet Jackson's music video for Together Again, the Deeper remix, and also a reaction to Rita Sawayama's Frankenstein music video. I also talked about my favorite Halloween costumes and like other pop culture things, so you guys can check out my thoughts on that. And then I also gave a recap for all the videos that I did in October on this channel. So if you ever wanted to know how I come up with the videos that I do, what was like filming, what was it like editing and putting it out, and all those different things, and just everything that really goes into my entire process and all that, then I always talk about it on my second channel, these little recaps that I do. And so it's a really long video. It's the longest video I have out right now. It's an hour and 22 minutes. I worked very hard on it. So if you're interested in seeing more of me, you guys can check me out on the second channel. Again, it'll be the first link down below in the description. I'm also going to have my Twitter, my Instagram, my Spotify, my TikTok if you guys would like to follow me. And like I said before, I'm using my TikTok a lot more. And so if you want to see more of my music takes, definitely follow me on my TikTok account. I'm also going to have a link to stream this record. If you haven't listened to it already, I would highly recommend it. And lastly, links to educate you guys on important situations. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next one.